Well, hello there. My name is Saf and welcome back to another video where we talk about all of the real raw ups and downs of running an art business. So when I first started doing client commissions, I didn't know the first thing about doing successful client commissions, and I ran into a lot of issues when it came to doing smooth client commissions, getting people to respond on time, and even just getting paid what I deserve. There's going to be two types of situations when you get commissions. Number one is people are going to reach out to you, whether that's through your website, whether that's through Instagram, and number two is that you're gonna pitch to them. So let's talk about the first one first. When people reach out to you, something that I learned is to always ask them why they want to work with you. Why you? There's a million artists out there. Why you? And you're probably wondering, why the heck would I ask this? They're coming to me. Let me just take their money and run. But no, I think that a lot of the times there are some people who reach out to you not fully understanding your style, and they will ask you to do something so silly like make a dog illustration, and your complete style is portrait illustrations, which makes no sense. They just expect that, oh, I like her portrait work, so maybe she can do a commission of my dog. And not to say that you can't, maybe you can, but that's not your style, and you're probably gonna be miserable doing that work. And they're also gonna have a million edits, because when they see how you created their dog portrait, it looks nothing like your actual portrait illustrations, and it's just not gonna be a smooth interaction. So that's what I've learned from experience. I just always ask, why me? And I always show examples of similar work. Again, I'm gonna use a dog example. Let's say they want this dog illustration, and I have done dog illustrations in the past. I'm going to show them, this is the type of style that comes out with dog illustrations that I make. Are you okay with this? Yes, cool, let's move forward. No, sorry, I don't think I'm the right person for you. Here's someone else who can help you, or just leave it at, sorry, I can't help you. Simple as that. The last thing you want is an unhappy client, because they're gonna leave bad reviews. They're not gonna spread your name in a positive light. You just don't want to make someone unhappy. When you make art, you want it to be a happy, joyful experience for all parties. Okay, so let's move on to the second option. When you are reaching out to brands, make sure that you are pitching to brands that you are aligned with. If your art is more muted tones, beautiful. Use browns, use greens, use yellows, amazing. Why are you pitching to a company like Van Gogh, where they use bright, bold, colorful artwork? First of all, you're wasting your time creating a pitch for them. Second off, you're wasting their time by taking the time to read your email, and it's just not a good look. And let's say there's a chance that they do want to work with you, you're gonna have to alter your style a lot. You're gonna have to use bright, bold colors. So one, you probably wouldn't want to put this on your portfolio now because it doesn't match the work that you want to be doing. You don't want to just create work that you can never showcase in your portfolio or use again. Create work that really elevates your style and pitch to aligned brands. The next thing is revisions, timeline, and process. This was the biggest issues that I had when doing client work, and this is the reason that I stopped doing client work for over a year until I started doing art full time. You need to be so clear with your process to the client. So what I mean by that is you do not want to be stuck doing a project for 3 months because there's so much back and forth between you and the client. Be very specific with how many rounds of revisions you give and what that looks like, because this not only helps you in your time management, but also the client, because they know what to expect from you and they're not bugging you every other day asking where their work is. I personally do 3 rounds of revisions when I do client work. So I will do the first round, which is the sketch round. I'll make a black and white sketch. I'll send that to the client and they can edit the composition. After that, I will do a flat color sketch, sending that to the client. They can change around the colors. Then the third and final round is when I add in all of the little details. So like shading, texture, little background stars, or whatever the case may be that I'm adding. And I send that to the client and they can make minor edits at that point, because by the point that you're adding shading, they shouldn't be changing the way the hair falls on the person's head, because that should have been edited during the sketch process. So I'm very specific with what is supposed to be edited in each round. And if there's a chance that they do want more edits, you charge more, and you're very clear about that and you state that. That way you are valuing your time and the client also values your time. When you say this in the beginning, they're going to be more specific with their edits from the jump, and they're not going to continuously change their mind and go back and forth. This just like bugged me so much when I was doing client work. I would be in like the end and people would be wanting to change things and I would have to start all over again, and then I couldn't take on more projects because I was just editing the old ones, and it would just made me hate the project. By the end of it, it didn't even look like what I wanted it to look like because there were so many edits, because I didn't indicate my style, which goes back to the last point. So just be very communicative and clear. And with timeline, I always state when they're expected to get each round. So let's say the final due date they wanted in a month. I'll work backwards and say by week week 1, you'll get the sketch. By week 2, you'll get flat color. By week 3, you'll get all the minor details. And then the last week is just like a buffer time, because sometimes they take longer to reply. So you want to give like a little bit of a buffer in case things get changed around. So this is probably why most of you came to this video, is pricing. Always do your research on pricing different projects. Ways you can do this: if you're working with a big company like Bando, for example, or even Target, you can go on Reddit, you can read reviews, or something that I like to do is reach out to other illustrators and artists who have worked with the brand and ask them what they charge. Not a lot of people are going to want to be transparent about this, so do be cognizant of that. Not everybody feels comfortable sharing pricing. That's okay, but it doesn't hurt to ask. You can also go on YouTube and watch YouTube videos, because people do sometimes share things like this, or even on TikTok. For small companies, I like to be flexible with pricing, because if it's a small business, they obviously don't have the same funds as a large corporation like Target might have. And so I'm always more flexible with that's the good thing about having your own business and being your own boss, is you can decide the pricing. And maybe you do want to help out a local business, you don't have to charge them an arm and a leg. You can be more understanding towards them and their financial situation, because you want to maybe do it for the greater good and the community, and like uplift the community. And that's what art is about. It's not always about the money. But listen, when it comes to big companies, the bigger the company is, the more I'm gonna charge. And I will always be an advocate for charging what you're worth. Always charge what you're worth, okay? I always say it's better to ask for more than less, because if you ask for more, you can negotiate backwards, and the company can tell you, they can only afford this much, and you can find something that works for the both of you. Versus if you ask for less, it's very rare that a company is gonna be like, actually, we can afford more, we're gonna pay you more. Like, they're always worried about their pockets first, obviously. So always ask for more, because you never know what their budget actually is if they're not transparent about it. The worst they're gonna say is no. Just be clear that you're open to negotiation. I always like to say, like, this is what I want to charge, but let me know your budget. I'm open to conversation about this. So you're telling them, this is what I know I'm worth, but if you don't have that money right now, we can talk about it. Okay, so the other thing is copyright and usage rights. This is something that you really want to talk to the client about. As an artist, you should be able to repurpose your work time and time again, unless otherwise stated, okay? And this is something that I personally didn't know until this year, like a couple months ago when I started talking to other artists. I just thought that like once I create an artwork, that's it. Like the person owns it, I can't do anything with it, it's done. Girl, no. Absolutely not. You want to work smarter and not harder. You created artwork, that's your intellectual property. You have the right to do with it whatever you want to do with it, and you need to indicate that. What products can they put your work on? How can they use your work? Can they use it for social media? Are you going to charge extra if they want to use it for social media? Are they reselling your artwork on a product? And if so, are you going to get a licensing fee? How long do they have the right for that image? That's also an important thing. How long are they able to use that image on their products, on their building, etc.? Or do they own the right to that image forever? Are they buying it outright? Research all of this. Research the different kinds of usage rights and indicate that to your client very clearly. The different options that I usually do in my business is, one, there's an option that I just sell my image outright to the person, meaning they can do whatever they want with that image as long as they credit me. And this is obviously the more pricey option, because that means that I can never use that image ever again. The other option for commissions that I do is I charge a fee for the commission, of course, and then I indicate a usage right. I give them first rights for that image, meaning up until a certain point, let's say up until 6 months, they can fully use the image. I won't use it, but after that 6 months, I can do whatever I want with that image and they can't anymore. Or maybe they can use the image, but I can also use it at the same time. That gives them enough time to have originality of the image for a little bit, but then you get the right back to the image to do whatever you want with it moving forward. You can make your own stickers with it, you can make your own art prints with it. The other option, if you want to get more technical with licensing, is they get to produce that image on a certain product. Let's say they want to produce it on water bottles, and then you can still produce that image on any other industry. So you can still produce bed sheets, shower curtains, rugs with that image, but in this sector of water bottles, you cannot produce that image for whatever it's stated in your contract. There's also a lot more stuff on usage rights and copyright. I would talk to a lawyer. These are just like me and what I'm doing, so please take it with a grain of salt. Do more research and talk to more artists on how they use their copyright and usage rights. Again, this is just what I do and what works for me. Okay, and then the last thing I want to say, and I really want to emphasize to you, is it's not as easy as just stating everything that I've just mentioned in an email or a phone call. You need a legal binding contract. Put in the work one time and create a template that you can use time and time again, and you just have to change a few things each time. That way you don't have to worry about creating a new one each time. You have a template ready to go, because the last thing you want is miscommunication with a client, and now they think they have the right to your image forever, but you're also producing it on something else, and it's just like this whole legal battle. So make sure you have a signed written contract. And something that I would recommend is hiring a lawyer if you can, or maybe even even finding a pro bono lawyer. There's apparently a lot of pro bono lawyers for artists out there, so do your research on that. But find someone who has legal experience, who's willing to help you write out this contract for the first time. Get their advice of like things that you should include in your contract, how you can word it. And I always give clients the option to amend or change certain things based on their comfortability. Make sure when you have a project, you're allocating time for this, because oftentimes there are higher parties that have to have a say when it comes to legal contracts in organizations, and it can take weeks up to a month to really finalize contracts. This is kind of just like the basics of the basics of the basics. Continue to do your own research. I'm just one person, I'm just one artist, and this is just my one experience. I don't have all the answers, I don't know everything. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit the post notification bell because I always have new videos coming out every Monday, and of course subscribe so you can always be notified when I post. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next Monday. Peace.